I was in our garage today and I noticed at one point with a sinking feeling that there was one fewer bike in there than there should have been. Right enough, when I came in to check with my wife, her bike should have been in the garage, but it wasn't. We checked on her phone on the Find My app because I have an AirTag fitted to her bike and to mine, and we could see that it was somewhere it shouldn't be. We phoned the police, we gave them the details, including the address, but the police, of course, said we can't, given the inaccuracy of AirTags, we can't just go round and get the bike back for you, which is true. AirTags aren't, it's not GPS. Their location is inferred by passing iPhones. So they wouldn't do anything about it. They said they would call back in a couple of days' time to take some more details, which is understandable process, but I wasn't confident if we waited that long the bike would be retrievable. And so, against their express instructions, but cautiously and considerately and not just being a vigilante, I decided I'd go and see if it was easily retrievable from the location that was shown on Find My. So I jumped in the car, drove, it wasn't very far, and when I got out of the car and checked on my wife's phone, which is linked to the AirTag, it said right enough that the item was with me. So I knew the location had been correct. As I walked towards exactly where it was pinpointed, there was a garage nearby, and I was worried that the bike would be stashed inside the garage, which would be locked. But actually, as I tapped the button to make the AirTag sound, I could hear it sounding. As I looked slightly to the side, I could see that it had been stashed in some scrub just to the side. So I just pulled the bike out, gave it a quick check over, locked up my car and left it there to retrieve later, and then just cycled home. The bike was fine. I think the reason they chose that bike next to mine in the garage is because mine doesn't particularly look like an e-bike. There's no obvious battery, but hers does. So I suspect they thought, an e-bike, great, and they took that. There had been some fiddling with it. It was as if they tried to take the back wheel off. So I'm not confident the bike is in complete working order, so it will go into Electric Bike Scotland here in Dundee for a service and a check-up to make sure everything is as it should be. AirTags are not a panacea. As the police told me, as I knew, they're not perfectly accurate. Their location is inferred by passing iPhones, and so you need iPhones to be near where the item is in order to be able to see that location and report it up. And so if you are in a rural area, you might not have that information. But this proves they can work. I don't recommend it. I recommend following the police's advice. I recommend being careful and cautious at all times because no bike is worth your safety. But for me, this proved true the thing I always thought about AirTags, which is that it just, for the sake of 30 quid, 40 quid thereabouts, and a mounting system, it gives you a slight tiny chance of retrieving it. Now, there's a much longer video on the eBike Nugs YouTube channel about some of those mounting options and about the tech behind AirTags that you can go and watch now. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's linked to as I speak. Go and find out about them. Work out what your processes are for keeping your expensive and very precious bike safe. The thing for my wife was obviously that feeling of violation, of having our home being invaded, somebody taking something from us. We can always get a new bike. It'll cost us money, but it's possible to get a new bike. But she would have been sad to have lost the bike that she loves in particular. I should give a shout out to users on Twitter and Mastodon. When I posted about it, they were retweeting and boosting those posts just to say, keep an eye out locally if you see this bike, which is very nice of them. And I think I don't have no faith in the police processes. It is possible it would have been retrieved once it had been alerted and described, and once the community was on the lookout for it. But for me, being able to see that location on a map, thinking, I'm going to drive there and see. If it had just been abandoned, if it had been left as it was in somewhere that I could easily get to, great. But there was no way I was going to have a face-off with somebody. I wasn't going to go into a property. I wasn't going to try and challenge somebody about it. But the fact that I could drive there, see where it was, and grab it and bring it home, it's now safely locked up in our garage. That is a good outcome, the best outcome from today.